Revenge films.
I'm Leah, an ordinary housewife. When I was 23 years old, I got married to Matt, my high school sweetheart. Around the same time, Matt's brother, Nico, also got married, and we started seeing each other often at their parents' house. But then I gradually began to feel uncomfortable around my sister-in-law, Elizabeth. She was stingy and became a different person when it came to money. She would always ask me the price of my clothes and accessories, like, "How much was it?" I wasn't offended that much, but the other day when we were preparing dinner together, she asked me abruptly, "How much is Matt making?" I was stunned to hear that. Nobody boldly asked me that before. She went on, "How much are you spending on food every month?" And, "How much do you guys have in savings?" All about household finances. I just smiled and didn't answer. "If you don't want to tell me, you must have quite a lot. I'm jealous." And she said, "Nico wouldn't let me handle the money. I have no money to spend on myself." And she said she wanted to talk to me about it sometime privately and asked me for my number. A week later, she sent me a text and wanted to have lunch. When I got to the place of her choice, it was a fancy restaurant that Matt and I would rarely go to. Being a housewife, I was reluctant to have lunch at such a place on a weekday, but Elizabeth was already seated, so I went in. When she saw me, she said, "I already ordered a full course for us. The food is really good here." She seemed excited. When the food was brought out one by one, everything looked high-end, and I hesitated even more. But I couldn't put a stop halfway through the full course, so I just ate it all. I felt sorry for Matt and barely remembered what she talked about. When I saw the bill, it was $50 each. I was going to pay for myself, and Elizabeth said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I left my wallet at home. Can you pay for me, please? I'll pay you back later." "What?" I said reflexively. She said, "I'll pay you back, I promise." So I did what she asked me to. I wanted to talk to Matt about this, but I felt guilty for eating such a nice lunch while he was working, and I couldn't bring it up. A week passed, and Elizabeth sent me a message and invited me to lunch again. She said she would pay me back. So I suggested we go to a more reasonable restaurant, and she chose a casual barbecue place. I felt a little better. When I got to the restaurant, Elizabeth was already there, looking into the menu intently. I ordered a sandwich, but she... "I'll have the premium barbecue plate with extra brisket and beer on tap." All were pricey. I asked her, "Will you be okay ordering that much?" But she just said, "Why not?" She ended up ordering more, totaling over $100. I was going to pay for myself, and she said, "Oh, not again. I forgot my wallet again. I'm so sorry, but will you pay for me?" This time I told her clearly, "I can't do that. I won't pay more than $100 for you." Then she said, "Do you want me to get arrested?" And she grabbed my arm. True, they will probably call the police and she would be taken away. Thinking of the family, I reluctantly paid for her too, but she hasn't even returned to me for the last time yet. She had quite a nerve. I insisted that she give me my money back before leaving. When we lived solely off Matt's income, I paid $150 on her behalf. I decided to talk honestly to Matt. That night, when I brought it up, he was surprised, naturally.
"What? Did you pay that much for what she ate?"
I apologized to him and was in tears, worrying about what if she didn't return the money.
"Why don't you text her to see when she'll pay you back?"
So I did what he suggested, but she didn't reply, although she had read it. 1 month passed without hearing from her. I realized she just used me with no intention of paying me back. I was angry. Around the same time, my in-laws planned a family gathering with several relatives. Matt and I decided to take advantage of this opportunity. When we went over the day, quite a few relatives were already there. Among them were Elizabeth and Nico. Elizabeth looked away from me. When we sat down at the table, Matt gave me a signal. As we planned, I said loudly, "Oh, I have to tell you something, Elizabeth." All the eyes were on me, and I said, "When are you going to pay me back?" Now all the eyes were on her. She said, Do you have to tell me this now?" Looking embarrassed. Then Nico said,
What's going on?
Nothing. But he continued to question her, and finally she told him the truth. Nico asked me to tell him everything, so I did. Furiously, Nico raised his voice.
You remember that I told you I would divorce you next time you had money trouble, don't you?
Later, we found out the reason why Nico didn't allow her to use their money freely was that Elizabeth had money trouble before. She was into social media and she had to look rich, even if it meant borrowing money from others. Nico didn't know this until they got married, and he paid off her debt at that time, but declared that he would divorce her if she did it again. Despite that, she did it again, and Nico couldn't take it anymore. "I'm sorry, I won't do it again, and I'll return the money to her. Please don't divorce me."
I told you there'd be no next time. I'm filing for a divorce.
And Nico went home alone. Elizabeth, realizing everybody was looking at her, finally apologized to me and went after Nico. Elizabeth apologized to Nico a few more times, but he just handed her the divorce papers. Nico was disgusted with her personality and said there was no love left for her. Elizabeth, crying and begging him to reconsider, had no avail. Their divorce was finalized in the following month. The money I was lending was returned to me, and I never saw her again. Having been a housewife for some time, she couldn't get a job to support herself and went back to her parents' house. Her parents were not in good financial condition and lived in an old studio apartment. Elizabeth had no choice but to join them there without any privacy. Elizabeth continued to look for a job, but she didn't have any skills or experience, and her personality wasn't helping either. She didn't pass the interviews. She seems to be in the same place for some time now. Having returned my money, I was relieved after she was out of my life. Nico seems to be busy, putting himself to work after the divorce. He doesn't seem to be depressed or lonely, but rather he looks more lively than before. Elizabeth seemed to have been troublesome for him during their marriage. He may be better off now. I hope he'll meet someone decent in the future.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.